State Department in the United States has said that a new round of talks between Israel and Lebanon will be held in Washington, D.C. next week. The statement on Friday came shortly after Israel and Hezbollah announced a renewed ceasefire in Lebanon, where ongoing fighting has threatened to derail the US-Iran Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, to end the war. Lawmakers and pro-Israel groups have issued calls for United States President Donald Trump to ask Congress to review a recent Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, designed to end the US-Israeli war with Iran. They cite the Iran Nuclear Agreement Review Act, INARA, as a precedent. Passed in 2015, the law says any agreements with Iran related to its nuclear program must be submitted to Congress for review and a possible vote of disapproval.
Canada midfielder Ismail Cohn underwent surgery to repair severe fractures in his lower left leg that occurred in Thursday's match against Qatar. Last night, Ismail Cohn underwent successful surgery to repair a lower limb fracture. Canada Soccer said in a statement on Friday he is expected to make a full recovery but will miss the remainder of FIFA World Cup 2026. Spain star Lamine Yamal says it is too soon for him to play a full 90 minutes as he continues his recovery from a hamstring injury ahead of the European Champions World Cup game against Saudi Arabia. It's very early, it's unnecessary, the 18-year-old said on Friday.
Go's IPO, Japan's biggest so far this year, has done more than provide a much-needed boost to the country's languishing listing season. It has also supplied the taxi-hailing app with the capital required to address an existential issue. Japan's shortage of drivers, which went public Tuesday, plans to use the 88.6 billion forint raised in its IPO to expand its robo-taxi business and make acquisitions, according to a company spokesperson.
The United States advanced to the World Cup knockout stage with a dominant performance against Australia on Friday, an early own goal and a simple header from Alex Freeman giving the co-hosts a comfortable 2-0 win. Just as they had in their 4-1 victory over Paraguay, the US forced an own goal to open the scoring, with Cameron Burgess the unfortunate defender.
Iran's deputy foreign minister says Tehran wants to continue the diplomatic process with Washington if the United States is serious about respecting their agreement and ensures Israel abides by the terms of the Memorandum of Understanding, MOU. We are ready to move forward step by step if the other party demonstrates the same seriousness, Saeed Khatibzadeh told Al Jazeera Arabic in an interview on Friday.
One Palestinian child has been killed every day on average for more than 8 months in Gaza since a so-called ceasefire with Israel was announced. The United Nations Children's Agency says UNICEF describes the truce as a cruel and deadly illusion as Israel continues to attack the besieged enclave.
What's the most cliched possible gift you can give a relative? A digital photo frame displaying a rotating slideshow of family photos. Now, Aura has completely refreshed this product space with its gorgeous Aura ink frame, which uses e-ink to create a display that doesn't even look digital. Digital frames have always been so popular, yet mostly disappointing, because there's an undeniable allure to the idea of them. It feels like magic to imagine hanging artwork on your wall that you can change depending on your mood. In practice, these devices usually look clunky. You need to plug them in and figure out how to hide a bulky cord. And does anyone even want another bright screen in their home anyway? This problem was already on the Aura founders' minds when they started the company 10 years ago, but colour e-ink wasn't feasible until now to use in a digital frame.
Norway's government says it plans to ban all trade with Israeli settlements in the occupied Palestinian territory and has announced consultation on a proposal for a new bill prohibiting such transactions. The Israeli settlements in Palestine are in breach of international law. Minister of Foreign Affairs Espen Barth Eide said in a statement on Friday.
A 68-year-old pétanque player has died after allegedly being hit with a metal ball during a dispute with a rival team in the French Atlantic resort of Mimizan. The man was reportedly struck after an argument broke out between one team that regularly plays on the beach and another that plays in town. Israel and Hezbollah have agreed a ceasefire. A US official says, following intense Israeli airstrikes in southern Lebanon, that the government said killed 47 people. The agreement followed concerns that continued clashes, which also saw Hezbollah kill 4 Israeli soldiers in Lebanon, would undermine the deal to end the war between the US and Iran.
17 medics have died from Ebola in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, as the death toll surpasses 200 in an outbreak tearing through a health system already weakened by years of conflict, displacement and chronic organization. WHO official confirmed the death toll on Friday and said that 75 healthcare workers had contracted the virus since Congolese authorities declared the outbreak on May 15.
British Transport Police are responding to reports of a collision involving 2 trains in an area north of London, with media outlets saying the major incident had resulted in multiple injuries. We're responding to reports of a collision involving 2 trains in the Bedford area, referring to a market town about 56 miles, 90-kilometre force, said 90 kilometres north of the capital.
In Israel, there is fury from government ministers over the agreement United States President Donald Trump has signed with Iran. US Vice President J.D. Vance offered a sharp rebuke in response.
British Transport Police said on Friday that it was responding to reports of a train collision north of London, with other emergency services saying they were attending to the incident amid media reports of injuries. We're responding to reports a collision involving 2 trains in the Bedford area, the Transport Police Force said on X, referring to a market town around 56 miles 90 kilometres north of the capital. The National Cybercrime Investigation Agency, NCCI, has arrested 5 people and 4 workers at mobile phone franchises for their alleged involvement in an illegal SIM issuance network operating in Lahore. The raid was carried out on the instructions of Muhammad Ali Wazim after the Pakistan Telecommunication Authority lodged a complaint and investigated technical evidence linking the suspects to the scheme. Investigators
Train services on the Attock-Mari Indus Multan railway section were temporarily suspended on Friday after heavy rainfall triggered a landslide between Jamaat and Chab railway stations in Attock's Jan Tehsil in Punjab, blocking the track and leaving passengers stranded. According to an official of the track maintenance department, mud and debris fell onto the track following the downpour, prompting authorities to suspend train services as a precautionary measure. One train was reportedly stranded near tunnel number 129, while the 202 up passenger train was halted at Jamaat railway station.
The US government says it will stop funding programs in South Africa intended to tackle the spread of HIV and AIDS, linking the decision to the government's alleged failure to protect the white minority Afrikaner community. South Africa's health ministry responded by saying that though it had not been informed of this decision, it had long been working on a self-reliance plan.
2 men have been jailed over a series of arson attacks targeting property belonging to British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. The pair, Ukrainian-born Roman Lavrinovich, 22, and Stanislav Karpiuk, 27, were offered money to carry out the attacks by a Russian-speaking figure using the name El Money via messaging app Telegram, according to prosecutors. Artificial intelligence education now starts at the age of 6 in China. The Ministry of Education has rolled out new guidelines to teach AI at every grade level. For President Xi Jinping, AI is a priority. Will the toddlers of today be the tech titans of the future? This is a story from the archives. This originally aired on September 18, 2025. None of the dates, titles or other references from that time have been changed.
A diplomatic row between United States President Donald Trump and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has escalated, with Italy's top diplomat cancelling an upcoming visit to the US. At issue is Trump's claim that Meloni begged him for a photograph during the Group of Seven, G7, meeting in France earlier in the week.
Over the last several years, fusion power has gone from the butt of jokes, always a decade away, to an increasingly tangible and tantalizing technology that has drawn investors off the sidelines. The technology may be challenging to master and expensive to build today, but fusion promises to harness the nuclear reaction that powers the sun to generate nearly limitless energy here on Earth. If startups are able to complete commercially viable fusion power plants, then they have the potential to upend trillion-dollar markets.
Capital Development Authority, CDA, has abolished more than 20,900 vacant and redundant positions as part of the federal government's right-sizing initiative aimed at reducing costs and improving efficiency in public sector organizations. The decision was approved during the 7th CDA board meeting held on June 8 and formally notified by the Human Resource Development Directorate on June 11.
United States Vice President J.D. Vance is poised to take on his biggest role yet on the international stage as President Donald Trump's chief negotiator to end the 3-month war with Iran, a moment that could shape Vance's prospects as a White House successor. The two nations agreed to a provisional peace agreement on Wednesday that suspended hostilities but left core issues unresolved. Deferring decisions on Iran's nuclear program, its support for regional groups, and the economically vital Strait of Hormuz to 60 days of talks. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, following a phone conversation with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, said the two leaders agreed that the next phase of Iran-US negotiations must be guided by a firm commitment to dialogue and diplomacy and vigilance against any attempt to undermine the peace process. On Thursday, a long-awaited peace deal was finally signed between the United States and Iran after a preliminary agreement was reached between the two sides earlier in the week, heralding an end to the bitter animosity that has afflicted the Middle East for months. Italy reacted angrily on Friday after reported comments by US President Donald Trump mocking Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, with the foreign minister cancelling a planned US visit. Meloni said she was frankly stunned by Trump's comments to Italian channel La 7.
As a barrage of Ukrainian drones descended on Moscow in the early hours of Thursday, Russia's response appeared more like a scramble and less like a well-planned strategic defense. Videos from the streets of the capital showed glimpses of the ensuing chaos. Footage verified by CNN and analysed by experts shows soldiers firing portable, shoulder-mounted air defense systems from a busy highway as traffic cautiously passes by. People run for safety as a drone, probably downed by Russian air defences, plummets into a building in a sprawling marketplace.
The embankment was barely a sliver, wedged between lanes of traffic in the southern town of San Jose del Guaviare, Colombia. But on a recent June evening, in spite of the drizzle and dark, the grassy strip was packed with a jubilant chaos.
Months of Ukrainian strikes on Russia's oil infrastructure have led to widespread fuel rationing, with Russian President Vladimir Putin now unable to mask the war's economic effects. The Russian petrol shortages come amid other good news for Ukraine, which during the past week garnered €4 billion, 4.6 B, and new military aid commitments from its allies for anti-ballistic operatives, long-range artillery and unmanned systems.